Hi, welcome to Tape Time with Tom. My name's Chris.
Hi, I'm Kate.
And today we're watching Jurassic Park, The Lost World. The second in the Jurassic Park franchise. It's a personal favorite of mine, but this is one that Kate does not like because of the golden retriever, but we'll get there when we get there.
Emotional, damn it.
Well, there's nothing else to say at the moment. Are you ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Alright, let's go ahead and get started.
Woohoo.
So last you found us, we watched the first Jurassic Park. And now we're continuing the series leading up to the new Jurassic World Dominion, continuing to watch all the Jurassic Park movies that are available on VHS. Jurassic Park The Lost World, number 2, and Jurassic Park 3. But do you happen to recall the last time you saw The Lost World? The one we're watching right now.
How old is this movie?
I believe it's 97.
Probably
96,
watched it.
97.
I want to say like 2002.
2002? So a good
20 years ago.
Oh my god, it's 2002. 20 years ago. Jesus, alright.
Wow, that doesn't sound right.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Jeffrey,
Bring me my champagne.
you're the weirdest squirrel I've ever seen.
I always like these little peepers. I'm pretty sure I had a little toy of him once upon a time. This is just kind of like how you're not supposed to feed birds in, like, bread.
Yeah, this is kind of what happens when you feed seagulls at the beach. I just let my child wander off in the jungle.
Yeah, she could have been impaled by a boar, or like an alligator, or like, you know, a man with a gun. I love this cut so much. It's such a good cut.
Yeah.
I believed you.
Wait,
So
people don't believe...
So there's a whole collection of people who don't believe the fact that they encountered dinosaurs. I feel like there has to be, like, substantial evidence.
Yeah, but there's like video footage of these T-Rexes.
That video footage
And
is
Banks-
altered. It could have been CGI.
Bank statements. Dead men.
You signed a non-disclosure agreement before you went to the island that expressly forbade you from discussing anything you saw. You violated that agreement.
Yeah, I did, and you lied. You twisted the facts surrounding the deaths of 3 people.
I'm pretty sure it was more than 3 people. Sam Jackson, Newman, Muldoon. He said it was lawyer, 4 people.
InGen is my responsibility now, Doctor, and I will jealously...
So InGen is a company that we see Vincent D'Onofrio in the Jurassic World be as a representative of. So they're keeping this kind of plot line through from this movie forward.
I need a complete photo record of those animals alive and in their natural habitat.
That's interesting. So, like, plot, like, you have to go guide these 4 individuals because you have encountered dinosaurs before. That's your only given sort of experience to photo document dinosaurs. That's the plot of the movie, and then it quickly turns the other direction as soon as we get there because Julianne Moore starts taking pictures, and then his daughter. Like, we'll get there when we get there. We'll get there.
Spoiler alert.
You know, sweetie, I know we've had...
So again, this is Jurassic Park: The Lost World is still directed by Steven Spielberg. This is the last one that he's directed, and from here on out, he's only executive produced.
Yeah.
But this scene is a good example of his technical prowess because this is a hidden oneer, except for that cut.
Yeah.
But we have these long conversations that are just playing out, and he's really good at just allowing the actors just to roll with it.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of that. And he doesn't make it showy at all.
No, the dialogue and the characters are much better in these ones than they are in at least the first one of the new series.
Granted, we've only seen the Jurassic World. We haven't seen Fallen Kingdom yet,
That's true.
Our plan is to watch Fallen Kingdom prior to watching Jurassic Park 3, leading up to Jurassic Park Dominion, which we'll get to
The
eventually.
acting is like better in this one, and I'm sure people will say that the acting's not good in this one.
There were a lot of people who criticized this one following the original Jurassic Park. Maybe for a nonsensical plot, different characterizations, the lack of Sam Neill and Laura Dern.
Yeah.
But it's also just interesting. I think Ian Malcolm's capable of leading this movie.
Yeah.
And I think he does it extremely well. The ranking between all the Jurassic Park movies is... You would automatically assume number 1 is number 1. But I really love this one, and this one does not deserve the hate that it's given.
I would love to see like where we were time-wise in the first one.
Okay.
From a scene perspective, because it kind of similar idea of like there's dinosaurs drama, and then like introduce the characters.
We had 5 minutes of intro, and now we're 20 minutes in at the moment. Well, give or take the opening credits and everything.
It feels slower.
Again, this is kind of like the Indiana Jones, like zoom into a map, and then we're going to where we're going, which is kind of like a fun throwback to his prior work. I didn't think I never realized that these islands were off the west coast.
Yeah, when he said it was like, I thought they were.
I always assumed it was in the Caribbean.
Yeah, I thought so too.
This is south of San Diego.
Yeah, when he said it was a short flight from San Diego, I was like,
oh, interesting.
That's not where.
Especially with the ending of this movie where they're on a boat to San Diego. Like, oh, that makes sense. You're not going around. You're not going through Panama Canal.
Retconned that a little bit because I swear it said something about Costa Rica in the first one, but that could be not true.
Interesting. Yeah.
The enhanced venom of Conus purpuracid, South Sea cone shell. Most powerful neurotoxin in the world.
This guy would have, if it was cast today, would have been some muscly, oily sheened dude.
This guy?
Yeah. It would have been a Hemsworth if this movie was cast today.
I don't think so. This would have been a Hemsworth. Vince Vaughn would have been a Hemsworth.
Yeah.
I think they would have gone even more nerdy for him. This guy's like more of a mechanic.
Like, they look so dorky.
I love it though.
I do too, because they look like people. They don't look like movie stars pretending to be Navy SEAL Velociraptor trainers.
Who could say? Vince Vaughn, I gotta say, Vince Vaughn looks like a guy who is a videographer by trade. He looks like he has a shitty apartment in New York City, and he goes around the world just getting whatever footage he can get for any kind of job.
I would argue that they would not have cast that man today. Have you seen a man like that cast in any large blockbuster film?
Blockbuster, no.
Right.
But I'm happy that he's here.
Hollywood is afraid of
casting character actors,
average looking people. Yes, he's not unattractive. He's just like a normal looking person.
Maybe
he doesn't look like he's been Botoxed.
Maybe it's because we've never seen him in anything else. I should have looked into his filmography beforehand, but again, I know I've seen a fair number of Jeff Goldblum and I've seen a fair number of Vince Vaughn, but I couldn't tell you what that actor's name is. How many Sarahs are on this island? I think that's a great joke.
That's a good joke.
Julianne Moore.
All I can think about her now is her terrible Boston accent in 30 Rock.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Also, there's no close-ups like this in the new series, at least in the first one.
I don't think there are any animatronics in number 4. I'm just going to call it number 4.
Yeah.
Do you see any family resemblance here?
It's a little rude.
Yeah, that's. I just like that comment.
I'd hate to have to explain genetics to Vince Vaughn there. I mean, I assume she's his biological daughter.
Oh, I'd assume so.
Right. But even if she wasn't,
still,
it's just like a rude thing to say.
Yeah.
When's the last time you saw a bald man? A balding man in a movie, in a Hollywood blockbuster. It wasn't The Rock or Vin Diesel.
Well, again, bald versus balding. He is balding. He has... It's just...
Yeah. I just like it. I just think it makes it look like real people.
I just need you to show up in a cab every once in a while, too.
Kelly, what are you doing? No, what are you... Hey, don't go out there. It's not safe. Stay in here. Come back.
I do appreciate him as a father.
Do they have chemistry?
Julianne Moore and Jeff Goldblum?
Yeah.
I don't think so. You can't recast Jeff Goldblum. I have to imagine there were hundreds of actresses screen tested with him, and Julianne Moore is by far probably the most acclaimed and the best actor. Whether or not that they work the best together, that's up to debate. And I agree with you that it could it could be someone else who
Like,
works
do you
better
want
with
to
him.
see them make out, or does thinking of them making out? Make
I
you
don't.
go,
They never kiss. I think.
This is a game trail, Mr. Ludlow. Carnivores hunt on game trails. Do you want to set up base camp or a buffet?
buffet.
This is one of my
Female
favorite
buffet.
parts of this movie. It's just the idea of having big game hunters, or rather, InGen selling rights for big game hunters to hunt the most dangerous game, the newest animals. I think it's a great plot point, and I'm
Yes.
happy that they were able to do this, and I think they did it pretty well.
Second condition, my fee. You can keep it. All I want in exchange for my services is the right to hunt one of the tyrannosaurs. A male, a buck only. How and why are my business. Now,
I think he has daddy issues and a small.
All I can say is he's a great actor, Pete Tolstoy.
No, he's good. Yeah.
I just think this is kicks ass. This looks so cool. So much better than Jurassic
I know.
World.
I'm just trying to understand why this looks so much more like. But maybe it's like a bias thing because
Because
this
it's
is-
VHS.
no, but like no, it's not that. It's the shots and things that make it feel like a Jurassic Park movie.
It's also just well made.
Oh, careful.
I also just love this guy, this cowboy.
This would be a Hemsworth too. All three of the Hemsworths would be in this movie.
The one thing I will kind of agree with critics for this movie is how the dinosaur CGI is lesser compared to the first one.
Sure.
And granted, it's they have to put the budget someplace.
Yeah.
And they have the budget for like the general of the plot, and then some of the actual like animatronic scenes later on and everything.
Just one footprint.
Just one.
Was it like hop really far? Like where are the other ones?
There's more. It was off camera.
Okay, this is already. It's like now it's at -5 out of 10.
Because you dislike this scene.
Yes. Because it breaks my heart. Yes, he's crying. He wants his mommy.
But you feel for him though.
Yeah, what kind of monster wouldn't?
So here's another.
Oh, I'm gonna cry.
This is another plus towards the original trilogy compared to the new trilogy of how the sound designers are able to create these incredibly believable sounds for these dinosaurs, just like the velociraptors in the first movie,
Yeah.
with their chirping and this poor T-Rex baby just crying out. It just sounds believable.
Yeah.
I think one of the secondary detractors to this movie is that there's not necessarily any scene that's able to replicate the T-Rex, the initial T-Rex scene in Jurassic Park, nor the kitchen scene in Jurassic Park. But what we are coming up eventually on the cliffside scene, which is iconic, and then the field scene with the velociraptors. But those still pale in comparison to all the rest of the scenes from the prior movie. But they're still incredibly iconic, though, I have to argue.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not... Like, I am a bleeding heart animal lover, but this is just a dumb idea.
Dad, I gotta get out of here, please. I want to get out of here. I want to go someplace safe. No, I want to go someplace else. Please go. I don't want
I will admit that this is a good sense of rising tension.
Yeah. I would say that's what the new one struggles with, is tension building.
Yeah.
This is good.
The hide.
Yeah, this whole scene of her anxiety. They've
We
already
could
established
we
that
could
the
empathize with
mom is
this.
going to hear it. And it's just this long payoff. And I think it's important that it's like character choices too. Right? Like, she's made a choice to go up here. So we're all like, oh, was that the right choice?
Ian Malcolm's made the choice to be with his daughter.
Right. Like that's why we like... And that's why we can feel that tension, is because we kind of like, what would we do if we're in that situation? And that's where that
true.
tension comes in.
Would you be Vince Vaughn and try to rescue this T-Rex?
No.
No.
I would be real sad about it.
Oh, he knows that sound.
Now, to be fair, I guess they didn't have the trauma of dealing with that thing before.
Ian Malcolm has so much PTSD in this movie.
Yeah.
We have no idea what his metabolism is. We'll kill him with too much. We'll put him into respiratory arrest. Nick, I need your hand here.
See, but that's good. That's a good thing. Where it's like he was just him like arguing with the radio, and then the call back and all this stuff. This is good.
Vince Vaughn's decision to let the telephone keep running is another great way of just building tension.
Yes.
both for
it's
him
just
as well
little
as for the audience.
human moments, and it's because we can relate to that.
Yeah. I've definitely been in a situation where I couldn't answer a telephone just because I was busy doing something else. I think everyone has.
And it's dark. There's no night scenes in the new movie.
Only at the very end. The
Only at the
climactic
very
scene.
end, yeah.
But you never keep your word.
Oof. That's good. That's a good.
What did he say?
I would have squeezed it a little bit further. I'm pretty sure Ian Malcolm just dropped to the floor. Again, animatronics. Any of these close-ups of the head, these are all animatronic.
Yeah.
And they do such a fantastic job blending the two together.
This isn't hunting behavior, Ian. Not hunting. They're searching.
What's scarier for you in general? A bear, like a grizzly bear in the woods that you encounter while hiking, or a grizzly cub, and then a grizzly bear mama with you in between the two?
A grizzly mama.
Because nine times out of 10, it's the latter.
Yeah.
Over the parental instincts of a T-Rex is now academic.
So this is a good way of like dispelling tension, but it's also kind of like a means of like ramping it right up.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. Giving you a breath.
I just love keeping. It's not. You're not keeping the camera in sync with everything. You're keeping the camera outside of the rotation. No, let me say it louder. There's only one other person in this
survive. How did they all not just fall off?
They're holding on to something. They said it twice.
Oh.
Oh,
I definitely would have died. Oh, this is a good scene. See, he yelled for her. Ian didn't care. I ship them. And I ship Ian with fatherhood.
Everything with her on the glass is just nerve-wracking.
There's no tension in the new movie.
No.
The only tension I can think of is when Chris Pratt is under the car. When the Saurus Indominus Rex initially escapes.
But
it's not even like really good tension because that guy's.
There is no tension because you know he's going to survive. There's a chance that there's a tactile response that you think Julianne Moore is going to die.
Yeah, that was good.
Regardless of how stupid this whole situation with like the caravan Winnebago falling over the cliff, Steven Spielberg is able to shoot this believably well.
Yeah.
And that's what matters. Everything else in the new franchise just feels CGI and green screen. There's no tactility. It doesn't feel like they're actually in a situation like this. It doesn't feel like it's actually raining. It doesn't feel like he's actually walking in mud right now.
Right.
Who's hurt? What do you need? We need rope. Rope? What? Oh, anything else? Yeah. 3 double cheeseburgers with everything. No onions on mine.
It's an odd joke, I agree.
It's not a good joke. It's a bad joke.
But I understand.
It's funny for him to do it, and then it's weird for her to like add on to it.
It would have been more interesting to have them just be like, "Oh, shut up," you know?
Yeah, like move your ass. I would have smacked myself in the face with that.
But I also appreciate how he had to do it twice because he failed the first time. It's because he's a normal dude. I gotta say, this is a good shot because the camera started off outside in the rain, and then it's going through the first part of the Winnebago, looking down into the second Winnebago. That's a good shot.
I think that's part of the problem with the new one is there's no sense of space.
Everything's static.
Yeah.
Or rather, it's not even in the sense of static as in like a slow cinema kind of static. It's just like every single shot is just like shot, over the shoulder, dialogue.
Yeah.
There's no sense of...
It doesn't feel like there's a setting.
Space. So we haven't even brought up trauma.
Yeah.
I don't think this movie has a whole lot of trauma scenes.
No.
Compared to the first movie.
No.
But that's fine.
Unless you count the golden retriever.
Unless you count the golden retriever,
and
which
the sad T-Rex.
Which I don't. I count. I don't count either of those as trauma in the sense of.
No, not the same way.
In the sense of
They're
like the
sad.
kitchen scene, you know. This is kind of like the third time that they fell him down. This is going to be the last time they did.
This is a long scene.
It surprisingly is.
I don't think... I would love to see the average rate of length... Oh, shit. Length of scene time in like these movies versus the new series.
I feel like the new series... It would be interesting to Again, we rewatched Jurassic World, but it would be interesting to see what we think of Fallen Kingdom. If there are scenes that feel this long... And they're actually trying to achieve something.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things I appreciate about this movie is forcing our heroes, Vince Vaughn, Julianne Moore, and Jeff Goldblum, to team up with the bad guys.
Yeah.
Which is something we don't necessarily see all that often, in relatively speaking, because more often than not, it's dinosaurs. What's the old saying? The greatest antagonists are those who want what the protagonist wants most. They both sets of groups both want the dinosaurs. Jeff Goldblum's team, they want them to just video documentation and for them to stay safe. Pete Postlethwaite's team just wants to hunt them, and InGen wants to sell them to zoos.
Yeah,
but it's interesting. I appreciate this antagonism so much more than Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Because in that one, what is it? It's Vincent Lothario in InGen. It's just like let's turn velociraptors into military
super soldiers.
Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, I think.
Seem like you have a shred of common sense. What the hell are you doing here?
They have more chemistry than Julianne Moore and Ian Malcolm.
They have more chemistry than Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yes. This is my nightmare, though.
Having to go to the bathroom in a forest.
And everyone leaves you behind.
I mean, I've done that kind of in a desert, and it's not fun, especially when it's coming out of both ends.
Oh God.
Again.
Got cat fur in my eyeball.
Oh no, it's worse.
Yeah.
Still, I would rather have fluid come out of both ends versus getting eaten by copies.
I always thought they were copies.
Compies.
He's so cute, like a little chicken. If we were to acknowledge that they should have feathers, is this just a chicken?
A small chicken.
A small chicken.
A small, thin chicken that doesn't have any meat. It's the seagull of chickens. You know?
It's a seagull.
It's a seagull of chickens. This kind of shot, it would be interesting to see this be compared to what they've done in The Evil Dead, which is having the low camera just like kind of following right behind him. I know Evil Dead's a lot more faster. But God damn, this guy's just like...
That would kill him, I feel like. Yeah.
Talk about tactility.
Yeah. You feel that.
You feel the dust on his face.
Yeah.
Again, this is what I can see critics seeing this as comical compared to the first movie.
I don't see it as comical.
I hate that shot so much. And it's not that I hate it as like it's bad. It's just like I feel for him so much.
I like this too. They're like, yeah, dude, you can walk, but we'll be right behind you.
You don't have any kind of shot like this The scene in Jurassic World that upsets me the most is just Zara, or whatever her name is. Her death is just so incredibly mean. It's like, it's unwarranted. She's like, all she is she's completely one-dimensional.
Yeah.
This guy...
He's like abusive and a drunk, so I guess he deserves
He's
to
more
die.
than one-dimensional. I can't say 2 dimensions, but definitely more than one-dimensional. But you feel him as an actual character. You feel him as an actual person versus a woman who's on her phone the whole time, and then she gets completely wrecked by a pterodactyl.
And then a bigger dinosaur.
And then a bigger dinosaur. A bigger fish. I agree with what you were saying last night about how the Indominus Rex is like this sole villain of the movie. Vincent D'Onofrio notwithstanding. Whereas this movie is all dinosaurs are bad.
Man versus nature.
Man versus nature is incredibly compelling storytelling tactic. But then, if you're just having one dinosaur as like the bad guy, then it doesn't matter. It's not man versus nature.
Yeah,
at that
and
point.
that was my problem. It felt more like man versus monster, and this monster was everywhere, and that's why I was having a hard time with the space in that movie, because this one it feels like we're far enough away from the T-Rexes now. Like, it would be weird if the T-Rexes just appeared.
Exactly.
And then that one, it felt like everywhere our main characters went, that thing was.
This feels more territorial because like the T-Rexes are in one area, where the compies are like primarily in this area.
Yeah.
And we're coming up on Velociraptor territory. Then again, I think we are coming up on a carcass at some point. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know, but it just felt like it was a convenient plot device that no matter how much land they traversed, that thing was just running at full speed and was everywhere all the time, and that was.
It's kind of like how a slasher movie villain operates.
That's what I meant. Like,
we have Jason Voorhees just appearing out of nowhere, and like I would love to have a horror movie where I actually have it taking place from like that kind of a slasher villain perspective, because like having them wait and kind of run around would be incredibly entertaining, but also like, oh, this is how this character thinks. With the Indominus Rex just kind of like running around, like, why is he running around? He's operating on the same frequency as like one of these slasher villains.
Yes, it's just like kill.
And it doesn't make sense.
It deviates from like the science.
I understand that they
man-made, like it's all a mix of cuttlefish and whatever.
Because Dr. Wong was like, we combined the DNA of like a whole bunch of dinosaurs, and then so he's only killing to kill, not necessarily killing to hunt.
Right, and that is a big scary no-no.
But still, it's just bizarre just to have him appear out of nowhere.
It just very much felt like a supernatural horror flick to me, where it was just like they're running and he's there, they're over here, then he's there.
So this whole sequence running up here, because the audience knows, Ian Malcolm knows, this footprints, the water rippling, is the T-Rex coming.
Yeah.
And we saw Julianne Moore in the tent, looking up at the jacket hanging up to dry. They all think it's food, which is a good sense, but it's the jacket. They still think the baby T-Rex is there, and Ian Malcolm knows. They have the scent on the jacket because that's what they kind of wrapped it up with. You know how scary this is? It's just a whole bunch of dudes running away from a T-Rex. You're all gonna die.
It's also, well, not necessarily until he's.
That guy's gonna die.
Yeah, you just have to be faster than the guy next to you.
Oh, Cardi. Oh man, that's. All right, so. If you remember from Jurassic World, we had a man get stepped on by the Indominus Rex.
Really?
Yes. But it is nothing like Carter getting stepped on and getting stuck to the foot and then being left in water.
Squishy. It feels so squishy.
It feels so real.
Yeah.
Granted, even if the CGI is not as good as the first movie,
it
still feels so much more real compared to the new movie. And it might be because this is shot on film and we're watching on VHS.
Yeah, it does help, I think.
It's kind of, again, the VHS, what I love, it just kind of like blends everything together.
Yeah.
It masks all the blending of the CGI and the real world photography.
Yeah. Oh, a snake went down his shirt. And that's such a good scene too, because it's like,
wow, A+ right there, A+.
is there any blood in the new movie?
No, there's not. Oh man.
Like, because that's
What
such
an
a scary.
what an A+ scene right
Because
there.
you can like put yourself in that man's shoes. Like, okay, oh shit, you're
All
like.
right, this is my
Oh.
favorite shot. This is my favorite scene of this whole movie. This is so incredibly extremely well made.
Were
Top
they-
top notch.
Oh, because
right
this
there.
is still, it's the, what they talked about earlier, the prey, whatever.
Oh, just look at all these guys. It's so good.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
you don't have anything like this in the new movies.
No.
Again, we haven't seen Fallen Kingdom. We're gonna watch it soon.
But it's smart. I think it's smart, and it makes, and maybe it is like a horror tactic. Oh, nice.
That scene, that shot is always stuck with me.
Yeah.
That man just like screaming.
Oh god.
The one thing I do appreciate about the new movies is how we do have the acknowledgement that Ian Malcolm was right, because we have two characters reading books. Ian Malcolm's book about, I guess, based upon his experiences, and I have to imagine this book was written after this movie.
That's true. I wonder what he would have written about. Don't make dinosaur parks.
Don't make
That'd
dinosaur
be a weird thing
parks.
for them to read as they work up
Yeah.
a dinosaur park.
Billy and the Clonosaurus.
You think it's a work of fiction? Erotic fan fiction of him and Dr. Hammond?
I don't think it's erotic fan fiction. If anything, I would say it's like in cold blood. Narrative nonfiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has been pushing the plot. He
Vince
caused
Vaughn?
chaos in the...
Or Ian Malcolm.
Vince Vaughn's
Okay.
character. He caused chaos in the camp. He got the T-Rex baby into the RV.
That's true.
He's now going to investigate.
Is he the true MVP of this movie?
I think he might be the real main character.
Interesting. Who has the actual arc here? I don't think anyone actually has an actual arc. Character arc.
Well, if we know from Kelly's statement, it's like you never, like, what did she say? You never honor your word, or you never do what you say, kind of a thing. So this is like a whole, like, you could say it's like it's a parent movie, like, you know,
Yeah.
keeping your promises. So
Yeah, I can see
T-Rex, like, they hurt you, I'm gonna go kill everybody. So
I can see that. Alright. So we're coming up on the scene that I have the most issue with, not necessarily for the movie, but for critics of the movie.
oh, okay,
Kelly,
yeah,
Ian Malcolm's daughter, acts in the same way as Lexi.
is that her name?
So she, in the first movie, Jurassic Park, she is just along for the ride for the whole movie, and then she comes in clutch with being a hacker at the very end. I argue that Lexi and Kelly are identical character arcs in the fact that they're kind of like along for the ride for the whole movie, and then at the very end,
Passive and scared, and
and then they have an innate trait that they have comes in the favor. The fact that she's a gymnast is able to kind of help defeat some of these velociraptors.
Oh.
My argument is that they are exactly the same. And anyone who's like, oh, Kelly is a stupid character because she does some flips and then she kicks a velociraptor, I think that's completely innate. I think it's completely stupid.
Go.
Where do I go when I'm out?
I'm right behind you.
That's good.
That was a good.
That was a good jump scare. One of the things that a lot of these Jurassic Park movies don't... They do well when necessary, and I stress the fact that they do well is the first three movies are jump scares.
Yeah.
The best jump scare I have to say is when Laura Dern is in the power supply room in the very end of the first movie.
Hold on, Blue. No, Blue. I was in the Navy. No.
So my argument is that this scene right here, the fact that she's a gymnast, is completely parallel to what happened with Lexi in the first movie.
People didn't like that. Oh, poor guy. I don't think that was that bad.
No, I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's, again, I
think I can imagine it being a little hard if she's that scared, but she's also like trying to protect her dad. So.
Yeah, and she's using something that she knows well.
Have we established that she was a gymnast? And
they have stated it prior.
Yeah, I think that's suspicious. If people are criticizing her character,
I'll
pull that card. I don't think it's about the gymnastics.
I don't think it's part of the gymnastics.
I think it's something else.
Exactly. 100%. And I think it's rude. I think one of the primary issues that this movie has is that there was a time jump that there was not acknowledged.
Yeah, this is weird because it's like how much time has passed?
Because they were just on the helicopter, and we never see Vince Vaughn again.
Really?
We don't see Vince.
What about Kelly?
We don't see the daughter again either.
Are you serious?
I think that's one of the issues that the critics have with this movie, and I have to agree with them a little bit.
Now I feel like it's
because this is kind of like an epilogue at this point because
that's stupid.
Like a very extended epilogue because there was a natural conclusion, and now the movie just keeps going. But this whole sequence right here, the next 15-20 minutes of this movie. I understand why Steven Spielberg wanted to include this, and David Koepp.
We should script doctor this. I would do what we did that would be the opening. You know, there's like
which part?
Like this first, what we've watched is an hour and a half.
Yeah.
That's truncated down into the first 30 minutes.
Interesting.
Starting the second act with this.
Okay.
And then the second to third act is
the adventures in San Diego.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Potentially.
So, one of the things that I find interesting, I love the shot so much.
Yeah, that's good. Christopher Nolan was like, I'm going to do that, but with an airplane.
No.
No.
I think this is a miniature.
I'm going to do that with a real airplane.
Yeah.
Is that how is he British? Is that how he talks? Yeah, he talks like this in my mind.
Is that Nick Cage?
That's Christopher Nolan.
It sounds like Nick Cage.
It's Christopher.
Well, I do agree with you now by having the climactic, everything leading up into this point, and having the movie take place second after that.
Yeah.
You know? I think that'd be really fascinating.
So if you think about it from like a book perspective, would it be the first 25% and then this would be the next 75%? Or
because the prior 75% of this movie is extremely well made, and this is kind of like a tacked-on 25%, but it's a well-made 25%, but it's loosely connected.
Yeah, I feel like it should be inverted, where it's 25, 75.
Structurally, it's interesting.
Yeah, but like, what would the plot be? Like, what would? Okay, so
it's just
assuming so. There's 30 minutes of this.
The T-Rex. Oh, again, right now it's only 20 minutes of this.
Maybe 40, 60.
40, 60. Yeah.
So that wouldn't be.
I love this shot. I know a lot of people dislike the adventures of the T-Rex in San Diego, but I love it. I think it's great.
I think it's not a bad idea. I do think I can see how it's awkward to do it now at the last 25 minutes of the movie.
Yes. So the reason why I believe Steven Spielberg really wanted to include this whole scene with the T-Rex in San Diego, and for the most part call the movie The Lost World, is referencing the original 1925 adaptation of Arthur Conan Doyle's novel The Lost World, where we have in that original movie we have a group of explorers going to the Amazon and finding dinosaurs right there. It's basically about it. But one of the climactic scenes of that movie is having a brontosaurus rampaging through London, and my theory is that Steven Spielberg was influenced by this movie in part of the original source novel by having this whole scene, this whole third arc this last 25% take place in San Diego, having this T-Rex rampaging through the city.
Also, big old middle finger to them for just leaving their dog in the backyard.
Oh, chained up in a doghouse?
Yeah.
Yeah, just have it in the house in a crate or like, I don't know, wandering around. I don't know. They have a whole lot of unresolved issues.
Because it's not a golden retriever.
Just a dog.
It's just a dog. In my
So
mind, it was a golden retriever.
So I could see this scene being played for laughs, and I understand why you dislike it. It's because
I love dogs.
You love dogs. But that whole scene with the kid, it's very reminiscent of E.T. The kid finds a
No, I'm not
thing.
mad about that. I think
It's
it
well
is a
made.
good scene. It's just
Sad. Yeah.
And I don't like movies where anything happens to dogs.
Follow the screams.
I love this whole sequence. Even if it is stupid, I love it. It's extremely well made, and it's entertaining.
You know what they should have done? It should have been Christmas time. Then we could argue that it's a Christmas movie.
Oh, you know what? That's a great idea.
Right?
It should have been. It's a big ask to have the audience follow along with us for a non sequitur.
Yeah, that's why. Like I said, 40 minutes. I would start. Get rid of the kid and the thing. I would start with Julianne Moore, like on the island.
Would you have it start with her, following her technically, and then we have Ian Malcolm as a secondary character?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Julianne Moore could have done more in this. I think they relied too much on like the Ian Malcolm snark. So what happens to this island?
Isla something. Not Isla Nublar.
Like they just assume that things will never migrate?
Yeah, just execute every single pterodactyl. Because they're gonna go to Indonesia, they're gonna go to Australia, they're gonna go to Brazil, they're gonna go everywhere in the world.
I could see like the landlocked things, but
Anything flying.
they're actually
Just
I think that might be my least
Yeah, just
favorite
execute.
more than the Velociraptors.
The pterodactyls? Well, we're going to be coming up to a really cool pterodactyl scene in Jurassic Park 3, which will be coming up in a couple weeks from now. So, we just finished Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World. What did you think?
It was okay.
It was okay. So, I know we don't have as many trauma scenes compared to the first movie, but we still have a lot of really cool scenes.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad. I just think it's okay.
I still really enjoy this movie, even though the last 25 minutes just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Or it does make sense. It's just that there's a giant time jump that doesn't make sense. That's the issue that we have.
I remember we watched the first one or the third one frequently. We didn't watch the second one as much.
Interesting. Okay.
And then we had the board game.
And the board
which
game.
I guess
the board game, I have to find out what
my
it is.
dad still has, apparently.
Really? All right, we're gonna watch it.
I think he still
we're gonna
has
play
it.
this before we actually watch.
Yeah,
this
I think he
first-
still
third
has
one.
it. So
I can't wait. All right. Well, I had a great time.
Me too.
I love this movie so much. I still love the whole Jurassic Park franchise besides the Jurassic World. I will be continuing to rewatch this one, the first one, and the third one for years to come.
We'll see you guys in the future.
Yeah. So if there's nothing else to say, always rewind.
But most importantly,
Be kind.
see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.